Brownsville night. Is that a good one? Whoa! Before I introduce y'all, guys, let's let everybody know where we're at. We're at Sylvia Atkinson being in court. Got caught with a bribe. She herself bribed my opponent, Philip Cowan, with $2,000 and Minerva Peña with $2,000 to buy her vote. They want to have a meeting right after the election. So my question to y'all, and let me introduce y'all, but my question to y'all, is there a grievance to be filed with the BISD police to remove them from their seats, being that it's known and on record that they took a bribe from Sylvia Atkinson? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight. It is Thursday night, the 29th, all night until midnight. We have our bachelor from San Juan who loves to eat dinner by candlelight. We have beneath me Tim. I'm taller than my twin brother Jim. And in the opposite corner of me, with the X on his forehead, Mr. Carlos Elizondo. All right, guys, let's get started. What do y'all think about that? Should they be removed? Joe, good evening.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Joe.
birthday.
Sapo verde, Joe. Sapo verde. To you.
Should we have someone file a complaint and have them removed from that meeting? Can it be done?
Sounds like a good idea.
You know, guys. I think it's very important. I think our community now wants transparency, wants everything to be out in the open. How's it going, Sylvia? Good evening to you. I think it's very important, Vito, for our community to be aware of what's going on. Many backroom dealings have been done in the past, and this is the beauty of having a podcast show that we're able to provide our community with the latest information that is going on. Right now, with the Sylvia Atkinson bribery charge, it is important for us to recognize those individuals that have been mentioned in the trial, and your opponent has been mentioned to take a $2,000 bribe,
Correct.
as well as Coach Joe and Marisa Leal, his opponent, Minerva Peña. So I would be supportive of this endeavor. I think it is a great. I think it's a great way for us to start off a brand new school board, a brand new 2021 on the right foot. But that's just my opinion.
You know, we've endured 4 days of grilling. Today, finally they get, we had
Ready for the grill. You said you've been grilling for 4 days?
they've been grilling. The prosecution has been doing a great job.
Okay.
You know, behind all that, we have at BISD, we have bribery, we have hidden agendas, we have nepotism, influence peddling, we have cronyism, we have embezzlement, all in a day's work. We need to drain the swamp. Now remember, and I say this con todo corazón, there's thousands of people working for BISD. The employees are hard-working employees that give 200%, especially now in these trying days. They have been out there. Sin embargo, regardless of the pandemic that we're in, that coronavirus, they're out there giving it their all. We saw today, Dr. Hatton shined. Pat Perez shined. That is what we need, straight up and honest. This is what I'm talking about. Honesty and hard working. And there are thousands of people like that at BISD. Carlos?
Yeah. You want me to give you my heads up today? Guys, it's been day number 4 of the Sylvia Atkinson bribery case, and the action just keeps getting better and better and better. There has been some fights between both the government and, of course, the defense. But you know what? We'll stay tuned. We'll make sure that we'll tell you that on our second half of the show.
Ooh, good evening.
You're muted. You're muted.
Who's muted?
Silvestre, make sure we go out to eat tomorrow. I know you were supposed to arrive tomorrow at 10. So let's hang out tomorrow and eat. See you all soon. Last day of early voting. That is correct, gentlemen. Tomorrow is the last day of early voting. They extended the hours to 9 p.m. So we encourage each and every one of you, if you haven't voted already, please take someone to vote. Jeremiah, we will be having lunch tomorrow, my friend.
Is he paying? Is Jeremiah paying?
No, I'm paying. You want to come along?
Oh, of course.
Even if
Hang on, Sid.
Just make sure it's between the break that we get at the federal courthouse.
So Tim Carlos, how did today start off? Walk us through as soon as you guys got there during the break. What was the feeling like in the courtroom today? How did it start off?
Like it always does. It starts off with a little bit of direction from the judge, and this time it's actually, they brought in several witnesses. I tell you what, there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence stacked against Sylvia Atkinson, and because of that, there's some information that was leaked today, and of course I'll tell you guys, stay tuned. So we'll say that on the second half of the show. That was brought up in adding more players to this mix of Sylvia Atkinson's web of lies, of bribery, of corruption, of theft of public funds and stuff like that. So stay tuned for the second part. But anyway, we'll go on and say, there was a lot of fireworks, both from the government side, and then of course there was a lot of, I don't know if you can call it ducking. There wasn't a lot of ducking. There was straight punches, jabs were hitting the defense, and it didn't look good for Sylvia today. There was a lot of issues that were brought up, and they just couldn't come out of it. I mean, there's just so much evidence against her that it's very difficult to actually defend someone, especially when you're caught on video and audio taking money from undercover agents.
guys, Snoopy, I know you guys have a lot to discuss, but after you speak about the prosecution, don't forget to talk about what the defense said to that. I can't imagine how they're able to defend this Rata Silvia.
Okay, so let me tell you, I don't know if you guys want to give you you want the best part of what happened today, or do you want to
who took the hot seat first this morning?
Casby.
Joy
represent
Casby. So she's the director of legal services for the Texas Association of School Board, and it's an organization from in the state of Texas that they don't govern, but it's an association where all districts over 1,000, I think 42, she said, actually are members of this association, and they have a legal team that helps school boards and superintendents be able to create policy and give advice under legal circumstances. In this case, they brought in as an expert on what it is that a school board member can do or cannot do when it comes to taking money for selling votes. If it was against policy, if it was against state law, if it was against federal law. So that's what she came in. She did a really, really good job explaining it, because she does teach the ethics portion on these conferences that all school board members attend. And so she was a big player in the fact that what a school board member is allowed to do and what they're not supposed to do. There was a lot of things that Sylvia Atkinson was not supposed to be doing, especially when it comes to taking money for making sure that an agenda item gets passed and then recovers a monetary donation for such acts. Plus, they also brought in the Minerva Peña testimony from Sylvia Atkinson, and their defense is saying that Sylvia Atkinson gave Minerva Peña $2,000 and Philip too for selling their votes to be able to pass this movie deal in the district back in February the 12th of 2019. So that came out too, and she testified that was an illegal act. Not only illegal, but shouldn't be done ethically or anytime. It just broke all rules, policies, laws, and stuff like that. So that's what she was in there. Did you hear anything else?
Hey Tim, what was your take on Tasby's testimony?
They were straight up and asked her if a board member gets compensation, works on behalf of a vendor, if it's a conflict of interest. And guess what? The response was, yes, absolutely. It said board members directly or indirectly accept or elicit any benefits that might influence their performance of their duties. Tasby said it's a violation. Accepting a bribe, gifts, favors, it's a violation. Anything that benefits a board member, it's a violation. Now, we have to understand that a board member is now, when you're a citizen, you're right here, but a board member, now you're a public servant, and your ethics are supposed to be way up here. And so the needs of the district comes before your personal needs. And there's 7 board members there. 7. It becomes the needs of BISD is first and always first. They asked, they spoke about ethics, the bribery of federal funds. They spoke about the ethical standards. It was clear and precise, and she held her own when Noe Garza asked her questions, and maybe he didn't like some of the answers she gave him.
Hey, very very quickly, Vito, Tim, Carlos, Justin has a question. Will she serve time in federal prison?
Only time will tell.
That's a good one. You know what, colleague? Vito, go back.
I can't read.
All I'm reading is about giving the respect to the question that's being asked. Get your finger off the damn mouse. The answer, in my opinion, is we won't know exactly, because you are talking about human beings that are listening to to both sides, and the jury can only go with what the law allows them to, and not feelings or pretenses. So in this case, there's a lot of things that are being thrown out. It's a very, very difficult job for these 12 individuals that are there. They're not going to be able to take this decision lightly, because it's going to affect someone could be 45 years, being in prison for something she did. Does she deserve it? But if I was a jury member, I could only say that I would probably vote in the favor of the government, because of all the evidence has been shown. But you know what? I'm not sitting there taking that responsibility home every night for the last 4 days, and then coming back and making a decision to where it's going to affect someone that bad. But you know what? If she's guilty, she's guilty, and she needs to serve the time, then she needs to serve the time. But I'm going to tell you what's happening because of that. Then this is why I'm elaborating a little bit more. It also plays a factor of what we heard today, Justin. But I'll tell you that on the second part of the show, because it is part to that question.
Tim, will she serve time in federal prison?
It's not for me to say. It's going to be those 14 jurors that are listening to everything.
12 jurors.
Huh?
12. Okay, guys, describe very quickly the posture, the demeanor, the facial expressions of the jury. Are they buying more into the government's arguments? Do they seem to be favoring Sylvia Atkinson's defense? Give us very quickly into the posture, into the body language of the jury.
Under my observation, I see when Jody Young is presenting, he's talking, he's got his witnesses there. You see they're very attentive. All the jurors are attentive. When Noe Garza or mostly Noe Garza, when he's presenting, when he's talking, like yesterday, wow, man, it was boring. And you could see it. I saw it, and I was looking at the board. I was looking at the jurors. They were like, "Hijuela." But facial expression can tell you a lot.
And let me tell you one thing: it's a little difficult to see their facial expression, because everybody's wearing a face shield, and they're sitting behind plexiglass, and they're all kind of in a half cubicle. So it's very difficult to see their expressions. But I'm going to tell you one thing: they're very attentive to what they're saying. But what happens here is that there is a stack of evidence against the defendant. You're looking at videos. They play these videos on these huge projectors where show the acts that are being done by the defendant. They're showing this individual taking money, and of course you see the money, the stack of money, and putting it in her purse, and so and laughing and being happy about it. And when I see that, if I'm looking at that, and I know the other side, and I'm glad maybe the jurors don't, is that I see the effects that this has created and caused for not only for our kids but for our BIZ staff. You're looking at this current board has taken away the step increases for the staff, and then you see someone up there taking this money. It's like stealing the money from our BISD staffers and the kids. So if I was there, I'm going to be a little bit more prejudiced. But the fact is, the jury is glued to what the defense is saying. The jury is glued to what the government is saying. But there's so much evidence out there that it's unsurmountable. Frankie, I'm sure you experience this a lot. This is something that you see every day. But for someone who's not used to this kind of stuff, I mean, you're just like, wow, there's a lot of evidence that's been stacked up against the defendant. And so the defense is doing their part to be able to discredit the witnesses. And that's the only thing you can do, because you cannot take back what you just saw on the screen, where someone is actually taking two payments, bribery payments from an undercover agent for something that she needs to do and has done with the cooperation of the majority of the board that's seeking re-election. You're looking at this and you're saying, how can we sit here and we applaud the actions of Philip Cowan, of Minerva Peña, of Little Eddie, of Drew Brown, of Prissy? How can we sit here and we applaud them and we want to give them their vote, guys? When you see this on a daily basis, I wish there was more people in the audience. I wish this was being zoomed so people can actually look at what the reality of the effects that Sylvia Atkinson has done to our staff.
Hold on there, Carlos. Hold on. No, we don't need to zoom it, because then I wouldn't have a show.
Well, that's me. That's true.
So we finished with the
comment, that the 1,500 comments, you did them like in 2 seconds. Yes, we're done.
So Tasby's testimony was just, Tim, the policies, procedures. Was it inappropriate or inappropriate? Was there anything else out of Tasby that we got regarding Sylvia's actions as a board member or as a administrator at Rio Hondo?
Well, when you get Noe Garza up there and asking the Tasby individual about the laws and the laws, she says, "Hey, you need to talk to the to that department about ethics." I mean, as far as breaking the law and stuff. But she was clear about everything else about the ethics and conflict of interest and gifts and all that stuff. She was pretty clear. I mean, and precise. And like I said, maybe Noe Garza didn't like her answers, and it showed. And you could see the attentiveness of the jurors. They were paying attention and they were listening to everything that both attorneys were saying this morning. And when it's quick and short and quick, it's really good, because then now your jurors are like, okay, we all have attention spans, and then it's not long. But when he keeps on and on and on, it's very boring. So quick and short and miserable.
And we already shared the link to the YouTube. That's where we're gonna do the second part of this show.
I'll be providing it momentarily. Okay, so Tasby goes on. The government, Noe Garza got testimony, cross-examination.
Yes.
Nothing really, guys. Nothing juicy from them. Who was the next one on the stand?
The next one was Sylvia Hatton. So Sylvia Hatton came in there, and they elaborated back onto where she was a superintendent, interim superintendent, how she got the call and stuff like that. So we'll get to the juicy part. So they ask her, is she aware of this agenda item? She goes, yes, I'm aware of it. So explain to us how it happened. So she starts talking about, that Pat Perez had received a call from Sylvia asking her, has the agenda been placed? And Pat says, no, it has not. And she goes, why hasn't it not? The superintendent promised me that she was going to put it on there. Well, it's not on there. Go and tell her and ask her. So she goes there and tells her, and she and Dr. Hatton's like, I'm not going to put it. I'm not going to put it on the agenda. She failed to put it. That was a board member request agenda item that should have been placed. I have no backup. I cannot put something there just because someone tells me to do it. There is no backup. I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to defend it if I take it up to the board and the board asks me questions. So she says, I'm not going to do it. You're talking about Wednesday, the 6 days prior to the meeting, which is going to be a Tuesday. So it had to have been done by 12 o'clock. It failed to be put on the agenda, so it was going to fail. So they have a meeting in the evening, right? And
Carlos, very quickly, how many men and women on the jury?
I knew somebody was going to ask. 8 women, 6 men.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And
That's right.
I want to go very quickly. Vito, Tim, and Carlos. Do you think having more women than men is a benefit, or is that against Sylvia Atkinson? Vito?
I would think with the surroundings of I would think more women would take more into consideration of
That's a yes or no question.
what she's doing.
I'm telling you, women are harder on women.
Yes.
I agree.
Women.
I'm gonna think it's gonna be a little bit more difficult when women they're a little bit more judgmental, and not because I know anything about that, because I only live with 3 girls and my wife. So I'm just gonna let you know, they're probably gonna be a little bit more judgmental. I think they're gonna be able to say, how could you steal from the kids? How could you steal from the staff members? So.
Yeah.
Jesse's got a question. Will all those involved be made to step down? I don't think they should be stepping down. I think they should face the extent of the law. So by allowing, and maybe that's not the question you're asking, but this is the way I'm perceiving it. But if you just allow them to step down, it's like allowing them to say,
I got
okay.
with it.
So that's my answer.
I agree.
No, Wendy. Sylvia Atkinson is tried by a jury.
Yeah.
The jury is the one that will decide whether she's innocent or guilty. The judge will decide her time, if I'm not mistaken, based on a scale, because the federal government is a lot different than the state government, where at the state government, the state judge has more of a leeway of what sentence they can render. But a federal judge, once it is given a guilty verdict by the jury, they are bounded by more guidelines. Wendy, the jury decides the fate, whether innocent or guilty, and the judge is the one that will decide the punishment.
Right, and I think there's a point scale, right, for that, Frankie?
Yes, sir.
So my question to you guys is, what will you do differently about this budget? Will we have access to see the expenses as to where and who the money is going? What will be transparent?
It should always be transparent, the budget. I mean, and it's a law. They have to require the BIZ to be able to post a budget. Also, if you're a citizen, you can always go and ask for the budget, what's been approved, how it's spent. You don't have access to the vendors that they use or what they buy or what they sell, right? But the budget is open to everybody. So yeah, it should be very, very transparent. And you'll see that. I think we said that.
And it will be transparent. You know, we're gonna make it, Erasmo's not here because he is a witness for the prosecution. He will still have his show. He will come on and let y'all know what's going on, still on a daily basis. Just because he becomes a board member doesn't mean he won't be doing what he's been doing for the last 2 years. So everyone's going to know what's happening. Everybody's going to know of us that get elected, that what we're doing, and to make sure that it benefits the community and the employees of BISD.
Hey guys, based on Camilo Garza, Diana Barrera's comment, are all jurors from Brownsville? Would that influence the case in any way? This might be known the cases before trial started. We have to remember the federal government. This is the Southern District of Texas, so their jury panel is a lot different than Cameron County. And community, correct me if I'm wrong. The jury panel is not just Brownsville, guys. it is the Southern District. So it is a larger range of potential candidates. So Barrera, Garza Barrera, you might be right. Some may be very familiar with Dr. Atkinson's previous dealings case, and some might not be very familiar. So one thing to understand is not all jurors are from Brownsville in this case.
Correct. That's correct.
So again, I'm sorry. Okay, so we talked about the first witness, Tasby. There was not much juice. Let's keep on rolling. Who was the next one on the witness stand? And what was her testimony?
Well, Sylvia had, and I was trying to explain to you what I was really cut off.
My bad. Go for it.
Anyway, I'm going to give you real quick what it was, because it was a pretty lengthy testimony. But what she says was that Sylvia Haddon was forced by Sylvia Atkinson to put this agenda item on there. But before that, before she actually, because at the beginning she said no. And then at the end, when they had the agenda review meeting, Sylvia Atkinson attended that with the president, which was Minerva Peña. So normally what it entails is the president, the superintendent, and Pepe, which is the board secretary, and that they go through the agenda, make sure they get whatever they need to, and then they sign off and they leave. In this case, this agenda item, Sylvia Atkinson was available, and she showed up because she wanted to make sure that agenda item made it through. The only way that could have made it through, because the deadline had expired, was to force the superintendent to place it on there, and that's what she testified. She testified that Minerva Peña said, you know what, it didn't make it, fine, let's do it to the next meeting. And that's when all rage and hell broke loose at that meeting room. Sylvia Atkinson stood up, threw a chair, and started yelling at Minerva Peña. How come is it? And this is not my testimony; it's testimony of the witness. How dare you? You don't put anything of mine. It's only what you want. Anything that I want, nothing is put on, Minerva. I can't believe it. And so Minerva turns around, is like, please calm down. No, I'm out of here. And boom, she hits the table. I'm out of here. She goes, no, please, come on, sit down, please. Take it easy. Praise the Lord. Please sit down or whatever. And she finally made her sit down, and she convinced the superintendent to put it on the agenda.
Carlos, and this was the agenda item for the movie in question, where the $10,000 bribe was committed. Is that correct?
Well, The Whole is a movie that was already created with Mary Trey Mendes, Sylvia Atkinson, and Rodrigo. That's a movie that they wanted to sell. This is where this plays a big role. This was a second fake movie that was going to be introduced to the BISD to be able to go and push it, so that way these people from India can come in and be able to do a movie on school grounds, which was fake because they were all undercover agents. This is how they were. What they were trying to do is see if Sylvia Atkinson would take a bribe, which she did, of $10,000 to push an agenda item through.
Vito, Carlos, can the board president place an agenda item?
No. If the deadline has passed, no.
Okay, Tim, tell us about Sylvia's demeanor. How was she? Is she slumped over? Is she confident? And Tim, do you think the defense will put her on to testify?
Her demeanor was she was very focused. Even though she had the mask, she was very focused on what Tasby had to say, on what Dr. Haddon had to say, on what Pat Pettis had to say. And what Pat Pettis, she corroborated what Dr. Haddon said about the incident in that room when they went over. Now, there's timelines that happens. That meeting was on a Friday, and then they have to post. Was it Friday, Carlos? I think so, because they posted in the afternoon, right?
When the agenda item by board members' requests have to be done Wednesday.
But then when you have the superintendent, the board president, and Pat Pettis, that's Friday afternoon, right?
That's when they do the review of the agenda.
Exactly. So they have time, time limits. And then nombre es un vato, according to Pat and Dr. Hatton. And Minerva, like Carlos said, please sit down. We can talk about it, please. Holy God, please, hallelujah, please sit down. And so she sat down. And she got her way. She got her way. And it was posted.
So
Exactly. She got her way. She got her votes. She gave away $4,000, 2,000 to Minerva Peña, and 2,000 to my opponent, an attorney, that stated on the news that if he would have known that this was happening, he would have reported it to the BISD police. How can you report it if you took money? You put it in your pocket. Come on, that's local.
and Vito, just a real quick, I want to make sure that we correct. I think we had said the Mile of Hope. The Mile of Hope is the cancer walk. The actual $2,000 that Minerva asked for was for hope. The faith conference that you have. Yeah, something like that. So there is a difference. It wasn't the Mile of Hope. It's the hope. Um, I don't know what it is. It's the day of prayer or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing, when they referred to February 12th, 2019, hate to say that what Mini always says. They talked about in the agenda the conduct audit compliance review. They had the Hope organization. They hired a consultant salary review, hire insurance consultant. They conduct insurance audit, feasibility study on health clinics, hire local attorneys, and audit Centennial Foundation. That's what some of the things that happened that was on the agenda for that night, February 12th, 2019. Just pitiful. But I was reading a saying yesterday, and it goes like this: a person who asks questions is more helpful than the person who offers advice. If any of our listeners, you people out there, and there's thousands of people that are listening, have a question, stand up and ask. Ask Erasmo. Ask Coach Joe. Ask Carlos. Ask Vito. Ask Frankie. Ask Marisa. Hey, Blanca. But ask. Don't go without knowing. It's important. Ask them. Besides here, if you want to ask during the day, message them. Facebook. But ask. Don't go without knowing. It's so important. They will help you.
Alfaro has a question, guys. Does Dr. Atkinson at least show a bit of remorse, or does she appear intimidated?
No, she doesn't appear intimidated at all, man. She also doesn't show.
Does she have a poker face, or?
She has a poker face, man. And not only that, every individual that has come to testify, she gives them the stare down, and she looks at them directly. And of course, the government asked if they can point her out, and she's just staring them down, like to try and intimidate every witness that comes to testify against her. But this is what she's done for many, many years.
Hey guys, can you finish the Hatton story very quickly?
Sure. What do you want me to tell you?
How does it end? Because we got into that Sylvia threw a little hissy fit that this agenda item wasn't on this item wasn't on the agenda. Please finish up very quickly on the result of that and finish off with Hatton.
So let me finish off real quickly. They create this big old. She creates this big old circus, yelling her voice, throwing chairs, belittling Minerva Peña because she is a follower, not a leader, and so she bends from this bullying from Sylvia Atkinson and forces the superintendent or the interim superintendent, Dr. Hatton, to put the agenda item under her consent agenda, instead of what a board member requests, so that way Sylvia Atkinson can hide the initials that are put on there when you ask for an agenda item to be placed on the agenda, right? So if the superintendent puts it down, it hides that. So that's the whole intent there, was to be able to push it, because remember, when she pushed it and got her votes, because she had already bought two of them, she was able to get the majority, so that way she can collect the $6,000 check that she was supposed to receive by pushing this agenda through. So she forced the superintendent to do that, and she went and testified to say that she was forced by Sylvia Atkinson and Minerva Peña to put this agenda item under her area, where she has to, where the superintendent does have the right to put it, even after the board members deadline. She has until 72 hours before the actual meeting. So she did it that way. And that's how Sylvia Atkinson was able to put this on the agenda and was able to collect after everybody voted 7-0, because she did go into the undercover agent. And one of the things she said, we haven't got there yet. I'll tell you guys what she said when we get there. But that was the end of it, guys. That was how she was able to manipulate the superintendent with Minerva Peña, the board president, to be able to put this agenda item so that way she can put it on there and be able to collect the $6,000 from the undercover agent.
Tim Vito, based on what Carlos just presented regarding Sylvia Hatton's testimony, how would you say that favored? Was this kind of like a good witness for the defense? Was it a good witness for the government? Based on Carlos's testimony on Sylvia on the previous superintendent, do you think she was a good witness for the government, for the state? And what was her demeanor?
She was a good witness. Dr. Hatton was a very good witness, and she did an awesome job for the prosecution. When it came to the defense, nada que ver. She held her own, just like Pat.
Of course, I mean, it just shows a pattern that Sylvia had on bullying what she wanted to get what she wanted in the school district. And earlier, of course, I have a trigger finger, and yes, there's a lot of entities involved. We have BISD, we have CSC, we have the county, and the list is growing. And we'll get to all of that as Carlos finally. We're in the second half of this. Let's fill the beans, because I know Pat Perez came and sat down and she had a lot to say.
Yeah.
Guys, there are so many people involved in this in all offices. That is too much. Judges, mayors, BISD. It probably will be confusing for the jury. What's your opinion, Vito? Is this too much for the jury to comprehend?
It probably is, especially if this is a first time thing for some of these jurors. I've always said that there should be a class in the district to teach people how to be jurors, how to vote. That way, if they're ever called, they know the demeanor and what their job is, because they're sitting there, and let's say what's happening within the court system is what they have to focus on. And not the innuendos before they get there and after they get there. Because if they're not sequestered somewhere altogether, then they're starting to talk to their family members, of course, and telling this. So it may sway their thinking. So they need to. It's too much to comprehend all at one time, because there's so many entities involved.
I'll tell you what, guys. To answer that real quick, Vito.
Go for it.
I don't think the jury is gonna have a hard time. I'll tell you what, because you see them, the way the government has been laying it out in a time frame, and in the way it happened from beginning to end, and then it brings in witnesses to corroborate that story that they're having, and then it just continues to add on to that story where it's been going on since she was in Rio Hondo, But to answer the question here, do you think that the defense will have Sylvia testify on her behalf? That was actually brought up, and the defense says the way things are going, she might not testify because she has that right under the Constitution to not incriminate herself. But we don't know yet. That is still something that might happen or might not, depending on how this undercover agent finishes tomorrow morning, and then the other witnesses are going to be brought in.
Yeah, Jody Young is very. He's a great storyteller, and he has everything very meticulous, and it's all detailed, timeline, and he backs up everything he says. Backs up everything. It's just awesome, and the jurors are paying attention. They're very attentive, but sometimes when the defense is on, it's a little bit different. But that's my observation.
Vito, what do you think? Do you think Sylvia Atkinson should take the stand on her defense? Do you think she would be a good person to defend herself?
I don't think so. With everything that has already come out, she would just be digging her own hole deeper than what it is. It's it's sad that our community has to see this unfold, but this has been happening for years. The thing is they finally got caught. You know, we've all knew about it. We all knew what was going on with Lima and everything else. But now you have someone bribing board members to get their vote for yes, which was Minerva Peña and my opponent, Philip Cowan. And she got her votes. And look where we're at. Because of that, look where we're at today. Where are we at today is spending the money of the community to put people where they should be. And it should have been easy. You know what? I did it. I take the deal. Done. But we did it because look now. Look who we're seeing that's involved in this web that you put together. Well, I don't know. Let's put her on the stand.
You know?
Let's do it.
So after Hatton, it was Pat Perez, the board secretary. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, let me just retract real quick. There was also a recording that was taken by Rodrigo Moreno during the Sylvia Hatton testimony, where they said, you know, that because they were going back on the agenda items that they were placed, and they also made reference to Believe in BISD campaign, and so the Believe in BISD campaign had happened, you know, before I was even involved on the board, but Sylvia Atkinson and Drew Brown were part of that campaign, so they referenced to whatever happened to those monies that were used for that campaign. You're talking about, I don't know if it was $1 million or $1.5 million that were used in that Believe BIZ campaign. They went all out. And who was the benefactor there? We don't know if Sylvia was, because they haven't brought that up, and we don't know if Drew Brown, but we do know that Rigo Moreno was involved in that Believe in BIZ campaign. He was hired as a vendor to be able to push that Believe in BIZ campaign, who Sylvia Atkinson and Drew Brown together pushed that to the district. So that was another portion of what came out there, but that was it. Sylvia hadn't, after that, finished off. They asked her a couple of questions on procedures and stuff like that, and what she thought if she knew that Sylvia Atkinson was the author of that agenda item, that if she knew, if Dr. Hatton knew that Sylvia had collected $4,000 prior to that agenda item being put there, would she have allowed it, or would she have put it on that agenda under her name? And she said she wouldn't. And they asked her, would you have put that agenda item if you knew that there was a front, which was Pinke Media, but covered the actual company that was coming in from India to do this movie? Would she have pushed that agenda item? She says no. They asked her another question. Would she have pushed that agenda item or placed it on the agenda if she knew that Sylvia Atkinson was going to collect $6,000 for passing it through with a 7-0 vote? She said no. That was the end of that.
Hey, Tim, talk to us about Pat Perez. How did she start off? What were the questions? How was Pat Perez's, the board secretary? How was her demeanor? How was her answers to the questions?
You know, when it all started, Pat said she received a call from Dr. Atkinson on Wednesday, asking about the agenda item coming on the agenda, and Pat says no, it's not there, and she says what?
Oh, I think we lost. Oh, there it is.
She said it's not, and so that's when Pat, after hanging up with Dr. Atkinson, went to go talk to Dr. Sylvia Hatton, and Sylvia Hatton was like, I'm not going to put it on. This is what Pat would say. I'm not going to put it on. And then she just asked her, call Dr. Atkinson. They called, Dr. Atkinson went, and I just want to comenzó todo el vato. And so it kept.
All right. He needs to go to McDonald's.
Carlos, could you pick up where Tim left off?
Yeah, actually, they brought her in to actually, the defense was very, very hard on her. You know, telling her, did she not know that there was a contract? Was there? Did she not know that because the defense is saying that the agenda item was not a contract. In essence, it's not so bad, you know, because it wasn't a contract. Sylvia Atkinson was a consultant for this firm, so she can actually push this. That's their defense, is that she's a consultant, and so because she took the $10,000 as a consultant, and the fee because of the services she did to be able to push that agenda item through the district, so that way this movie producers can come in and do this, then it doesn't make it a crime. I said, but the case is here, Pat Perez, I don't know. It was an action item. But don't you know that it wasn't a contract? Well, I don't know if it was a contract or not. I know it was an action item. Well, is it fair to say that it wasn't a contract? And Pat Perez, look, I don't know if it was a contract. It was an action item. And then so when you wrote it, because I didn't write it, I didn't author this. Mary Garza from finance is the one that pushed it through because it has to do something with feasibility. So she's the one that authored it, and she didn't want to author it to begin with, but she was told and given a directive to be able to push it forward because Sylvia Atkinson had created a huge mess with Minerva Peña, and so they got a directive from the superintendent. So that's how it was forced on there.
The first thing, Vito, what would be your first thing once you get elected? We had a question. Gentlemen, we'll start off with Vito, and then we'll go with Carlos. Gentlemen, if you all win, what would be your first agenda for the school district, Vito?
Run a audit. And
Carlos?
Department.
My first thing is to make sure that every staff member who wants to be home is home.
Awesome. Mine's safety. Second one is the board attorney.
You need a number 2 or what? You didn't tell me number 2.
The pie graph that the admin uses shows the instructional piece as where most of the money goes. However, what is the actually in that piece? Who knows? That piece needs some clarification. Do y'all know what she's referring to?
I'm not sure. What she's talking. Maybe she can elaborate a little bit more.
Rocha, yeah, I'm not sure where the pie graph that the admin uses show the instructional piece as where most of the money goes. Maybe they were given a presentation regarding the expenses, the resources available. But explain a little bit more, Rocha.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah, I know that yesterday they had an administration meeting, principals meeting, and maybe she's talking about that. But also they took pictures and they were asked to take off their masks. A lot of principals very upset that they were asked to take off their masks to take pictures. Very irresponsible of the administration to do.
You have to disagree with you there, Tim. They were not asked; they were told.
They were told. Oh, you're right. You're right.
And some of these principals weren't comfortable with taking a picture without their masks on, but they were forced by the deputies to be able to take off their masks and take a picture with a group. Some of them were leaving, and they were called over the intercom that they must attend this picture taken, and they all had to take off their masks. They were not asked; they were forced to do it. Some of them, said their concerns. Hey, I have elderly parents at home who have comorbid conditions. I don't want to take something home to them and have them risk their life. So that's what I heard. But anyway,
Vito,
you have
go for it, Tim.
Then you have, Dr. Cantu. You guys know who Dr. Cantu is. She's one of the top persons. She is a person that she's in charge of the business aspect of BISD. A person that has minimal, and I mean minimal experience in business. I think the only business that she has a business experience is when she was in high school working at McDonald's. But other than that, she has little to maybe 1% business experience in business, and taking care of the business part of BISD is pathetic. She's not doing a great job. She's doing a lousy job.
Vito, do you think Erasmo will be called as a witness?
I believe so. Being that the investigation was already happening, he himself went to the FBI to turn in evidence of what was happening. So I'm thinking that in the days to come, he will probably be in the hot seat himself.
Yep.
Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, he was sworn in November. February, he was at the FBI.
Carlos?
He was screaming. He was shouting.
Question.
Will Erasmo be called in as a witness?
I tell you what, the way things are going right now, I don't think that there's any more witnesses going to be called out. I know that I heard today that the last 2 people that were going to be called out was the undercover agent, which they have them on what do they call it? Not direct. What's that?
Speed dial.
Cross-examination.
Cross-examination, correct.
Okay.
So they might be redirected after that, but that's where they have them right now. They're going to finish off tomorrow, and then they have one other detective that's coming in. But before we left, I know for a fact that they had called in another witness, which is Ruben Obel. So he'll be coming in tomorrow as well to testify as Sylvia Atkinson.
Ruben Obel, state reps first assistant.
Correct.
And do we have an idea as to what testimony, what questions, what involvement he has with Atkinson?
I don't think he has any involvement whatsoever. I think what happened is, we remember Sylvia Atkinson was reaching out to everybody to take donations for her slate of candidates, and so she reached out to everybody. But what happened when she reached out to everybody, she was collecting 25,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it was. But every time she asked for money, she made sure that she asked for herself in cash. So that, I think that's where that is going. I think that she reached out to these individuals, and these individuals are not going to go down and lie for Sylvia. They're going to go out there and tell the truth. And I think Ruben Obel is going to be one of those people. They're going to say, you know what? Yeah, she did ask me for this and this and this and this. So I don't think there's any implications with Ruben Obel. I don't see him as a person that would put himself down that road. But I think that's where that is leading to.
So very, very clearly, Carlos, and this pertains to you, sir.
Oh my God.
Sylvia Atkinson, if I'm not mistaken, and Otis Powers were giving out flyers as to donations. They had a bronze, a platinum status, and they were giving these out to all the vendors. Do you think that this is something that Mr. Obel could be testifying to regarding the abrasiveness of Otis Powers and Sylvia Atkinson, not asking guys, but demanding that Sylvia Atkinson's candidates' horses be given money? Do you think that that's something we can expect?
I think you're correct, Frankie. I think they think you're right on that, and so I think that what they're going to show is that, because they're right now, what the defense is doing is they're muddying the waters with every witness that the government brings on. They try to attack their credibility, muddy the waters as much as they can, to that way that the jurors take away the attention of what they saw in the video, what they saw or what they heard in the audios. What they continue to see on the other videos, where she's actually grabbing the money and putting it in her purse, then going out there and depositing it into her bank account or through an ATM at Wells Fargo. So I think and that's a tactic that every defense uses. If they can't, they don't see a way out, muddy the water as much as you can. Try and put as much doubt as you can in the prosecutor's case. So yeah, I think you're right. And Osmo's on a sabbatical.
Yeah.
And a lot of the questions that the defense asked, Carlos and I, we're like scratching our head, and we're saying nada que ver. But like Carlos said, it's to muddy the water. That's their job. They're getting paid for that, and they're letting it fly.
So guys, you being there and you saying that they are trying to muddy the water, how is the defense doing? Give me an A, B, or C rating. How are they doing on defending Sylvia Atkinson day 4 as of yet?
To be honest with you, I think they day number 1, they started with an A, ended up with maybe a C plus.
C plus today?
No, day 1.
Okay.
Day two, they stayed probably at a C, close to a D. And then day 3, same thing. I would say a C. I didn't see anything from the defense. And then today they started off at a C, and then with the undercover agent, because of all this water that's being muddied, they're probably back up to a C plus maybe.
Tim?
Same thing, but yesterday I would rate it a D, because I was looking at I was observing the jurors, and they were like bored out of their skull. I mean, you could see it in their facial expressions. They had that covering, not using their mask, and and a facial expression can tell you 1,000 words, man. You're like, orale, very bored, extremely bored. So yesterday was a D, and today C minus. But the prosecutor is doing a killer job.
What were you gonna say, Vito?
I was going to say thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see y'all tomorrow with what we really need to tell y'all.
Hey, follow the YouTube link.
Hey guys, Maria has a question. Does it look like she ran over everyone and everyone did everything she wanted? Did she have that that personality, guys?
Yeah, she did. Even some of the witnesses, like you can tell, like the witnesses today, we were there waiting, and the actual witnesses were sitting outside the courtroom, and she passed up real brazen, and stared down these individuals, thinking that, I guess, the last hurrah, but intimidate, scare tactics to be able to stop them from testifying. And she did that. She did that with Laura Perez Reyes also. They went after and they attacked her very, very heavily, and of course those are tactics that are being used to make sure that hey, and I even hear, I don't know if I should even say anything, because if she wins, then she's going to come back to the district and destroy us. So these are some of the comments that are being said out there. So that's how much of a powerful lady she was, or how she controlled the individuals. It was by fear.
Hey guys, if it comes out that Cowan, Drew, and Peña are complicit in Sylvia's corruption, can they be arrested during or after the trial?
Most definitely.
But I hear Minerva Peña saying about those 2,000. I don't know nothing. I don't remember.
Of course, but
Tim, you are saying that Hannah admitted that Peña put the item on the agenda illegally without following the district board procedure?
Well, it was past the time she put it under consent agenda, which was from her. And it wasn't really from her. It was from Dr. Atkinson. It should have been under the, if it was turned in on time, it should have been under board member request. But since it was late, it was under consent agenda. So, right. And Dr. Haddon didn't want to do it. She really didn't. As per Pat, like, Dr. Haddon's response was, "No, I don't want to do it." This is what we heard in court, in the courtroom. So ultimately, it got on.
Correct.
And that's why Laura Perez said when she went to go talk to her, Dr. Haddon was frustrated and helpless. And she was.
Who's there supporting Atkinson besides her brother, guys?
Mary was there, and Sandra was there today, first day.
Yeah.
Mary Tolman and Sandra Powers?
Yes.
Yeah. Mary Tolman wasn't there today. It was I guess it was Sandra Powers that went in there today.
Yeah. Hey guys, Los Fresnos got a positive. They're in quarantine. Will you all cancel football once you come in November, or continue to risk our kids' health? Vito?
We would have to stop. I mean, look what happened with a parent that sent their child to the volleyball game that had tested positive, and now the team is under quarantine.
Right? It was Hannah
and Lopez.
So Rivera will quarantine. They're quarantined for 15 days. Football team.
We don't know the effects of COVID. We can only assume. There's the one child can have no symptoms, but another child that has underlying symptoms that we don't know about, could put them in the hospital. And we can't risk that. That's someone's child. I'm not going to send my child to school and risk her getting sick. I'm not going to say we're going to be doing virtual until next February, until we finally figure out what path we need to take to be sure that the community and the kids are going to be safe. Because once you let in too many, it's going to pass from one person to 12. And then they go home and get their parents sick and their grandparents.
Tim, Carlos, ¿qué si está abierto para el público el juicio? Yes. Ariel has a question. Is it open to the public?
Yes, it is.
Está abierto para el público, sí.
Tiene que llevarse su identificación o sea, la licencia o el ID para poder entrar. No pueden usar nada que sea electrónico, reloj inteligente o teléfonos. No los dejan entrar.
For every person she gives up, do they remove a year from her sentence? Carlos, talk to us very quickly regarding a plea deal. Was there a plea offered? Was there a plea deal? Did Sylvia do something?
Let me tell you what I heard, and this is what I was telling you about the second half. We're already there. So they went on a break, right? They went on a break after Sylvia had, and then both the government and the the defense actually started talking about Judge Elia Cornejo Lopez and the bribery charges. So they gave a little bit more information on what those charges were. And what they mentioned was that there was a $5,000 bribe in campaign ties and help with campaign. And this was taped. So what we heard was that there was it's Secretary. Yes, Ruth, I'm on there. So supposedly there was a tape that was recorded. I don't know if it was coming from Sylvia Atkinson or there was someone else that was recording, but this recording happened or the recording was brought to the FBI, thinking that from what I gathered, what I heard was that Sylvia Atkinson was looking for a way out, and the FBI said no because the act happened like in January or February, and the recording was brought to the FBI on August the 22nd or August 24th is the dates they gave. So then what they were saying is that Sylvia Atkinson is cooperating with the FBI on bribery with Elia Cornejo Lopez, but Sylvia Atkinson failed to report the commission of a crime. So the FBI would not accept that plea, and they went on.
Very quickly, Vito, you were talking about volleyball. Is that correct? That either Hano or Lopez? I'm getting word that it is a Atkinson. I'm getting word that one of those players was an Atkinson who tested positive or is in quarantine. So it just goes to show that we're having the Atkinson trial going on, the trial of the century, and at the same time we have an Atkinson student athlete testing positive for COVID at BISD at Homer Hanna High. So again, what coincidence that these two things happened during this time. Guys, very quickly, I also have another question. How is TSC involved with Sylvia Atkinson? Do we know very quickly?
They were alluding that because remember what Sylvia was saying is that she could have anything taken care of anywhere, whether the city, the county, BISD. If anything, if these undercover agents needed anything, and this was all because of money, then they would need to go through her because she had the connections at TSC, with Adela. She had connections with Trey Mendez. And I'm just saying what they said. It's not my testimony. It's a testimony that was given there in the court. Is that she had connections with Nurit Galansky, John Cowan, Mayor Trey Mendez, Ben Neese, El Marihuano. And then the county, she didn't give up any names in the county, so we don't know who those people are. But she did mention at BISD, she had Drew Brown, Prissy, Minerva, Philip Cowan. So she did mention Ted Cruz, Cornyn at the levels. She didn't mention who she had at the state in Austin, but these are the names that she was giving up in a recorded session between the undercover agent and Atkinson.
That reminded me of Goodfellas when they recorded the bosses, the bosses, and they were complaining. They were in their shops and complaining over small amounts of dollars, and when they were making millions and millions, and Dr. Atkinson just talked a lot, and they recorded it, and they got it all on recordings, a lot of audio.
Snoopy says, are there witnesses for the defense? They haven't been brought up yet. Then there has been no mention of them. They said that they can bring in 4, but there was no mention of who they are or what they're, or even if they're going to bring them in. Yeah. But let me tell you on the second part, Frankie, I don't know if you know the undercover agent testimony says Sylvia Atkinson guarantees the board votes to get things done. Those are words that coming out of her mouth. So that's why I said when they said who is involved, there's a lot of people involved.
So when you say she's got the power to make things happen, so you're talking about her majority on the board, right? Minerva Peña, Drew Brown, Prissy Roca-Tipton. Is that what you're alluding to?
Correct.
No. Is that what the testimony presented?
That's correct.
And they asked her, is everybody on board? She said yes. She said yes. She told the undercover asked her if he needed to talk to anybody else about the project and pushing it forward. She said, no, I'm the chair.
This is what happened, guys. She walked into that meeting where she was going to get paid the second half after she had the agenda item passed. She walked in there, and I'm telling you because I saw it. It's not what I'm saying. It's what I saw there in a video that included the undercover agent that paid her $6,000 and Rodrigo Moreno. This is what she said after it passed. She walks in there. Hey, honey, how you doing? Long time no see. 7-0, baby. 7-0. And so they asked me, what does 7-0 means? That means 7 board members voted for it and 0 voted against. This is what she did, and then immediately got paid $6,000.
Crazy. Vito, what's your opinion? Can Dr. Atkinson be stripped of her certifications, degrees from all of this?
Well, if she's going to go to prison, what does it really matter? It's going to be one of those where she won't be able to use them. I believe in a felony. I mean, Frankie, you would know more, being that you work in the court system.
She would lose them.
Right now, they're under investigation with TEA.
She will, if she's found guilty and she gets felony charges, she will lose her certifications.
You're a great host, Vito. Great job, everyone. Thank you, Peppermint Patty, for the constant support. So, Carlos, Tim, you talked about Dr. Hatton. I'm sorry, you talked about Tasby. You talked about Dr. Hatton. Who was the next one? The federal agent?
Yeah.
Pat Perez. Okay, and then let's continue.
And then the undercover agent, which they're still right now, they have them in Cross. So we'll be going in the morning with Cross, starting I guess in the morning, and then after that, my understanding is they're going to bring either, I think it's the detective or FBI agent Colbin or something like that, and then maybe Ruben Abel. They have a list of over 70 witnesses, so they can pick whoever they want. I think there's so much evidence against Sylvia Atkinson that they're probably going to want to arrest, Monday.
Yep.
Rene Gutierrez on the witness list? Probably. We don't know. We're not privy to the witness list. They only give you 4 names at a time, depending how they come. So I saw a list. It's a 2-page list with over 70 witnesses on there.
Carlos, you being a previous board member, Yasmin has a question.
Sure.
Can you educate us on the correct process in which a vendor is picked?
Of course. Usually a vendor, they got to be vetted through the school district, right? Making sure that they're able to facilitate what they're going to be, what the district wants to buy. And if they do that, they send a request out to all these individuals who have put their name down, and then they submit, whether it be an RFP, a request for proposal, or RFQ, request for quote. But when they do bid, it becomes a sealed bid, means they put it in an envelope, close, nobody knows, because they have their own prices, their own specs and stuff like that, and they turn it in. So that a committee is involved in purchasing that brings them, and they start reading and see who fits those needs. They do the research, and then they classify them on kind of like a report card, and they figure out who is the best person, and then those are brought into the board for a vote. But they are sealed as well. If there are multiple people, depending on if it's a lot, they're picked out. But can there be chanchurria? Yes, and you can see that. That's why you didn't know that word, right? You have to Googlealo ese. Googlealo.
Chanturria.
Chanchurria. So this is why Sylvia Atkinson is in the problem she's in.
And to add to what Carlos is saying, all of them go to the purchasing department, and that's why you need to have someone in the purchasing department that has ethical standards that are up here, so there won't be any chanchurria.
Chanchurria. Man, it's already an hour, guys.
Juarez, Chris Santana and Juarez have a question. Vito, if you get elected, would you be against an outside independent audit?
Well, we would have to find someone that's not biased and not from this community in order to do it correctly. Because if we find someone here, everybody knows everybody, and they come with their complicity of saying that, oh, you know what, I'm gonna look at it, but not really look at it. If we bring Timbuktu from Oklahoma, he doesn't care. He's going to come do his job and say, hey, guys, here it is. This is what's happening in your school district.
That's a good. You're absolutely right. I think an external audit does need to be done at BISD. We need to see where the money is. I'm sure we will be uncovering a lot of mishappenings, misdealings at the district. Elbat Hombre has a question, guys. How is even legal for board attorney Balthazar Salazar allowed to political donations to board members? Is that not a conflict of interest? When you Fab4 win, will you recommend to fire him, Vito?
Immediately. We don't need to start off a new board with yesterday's problems. You know, we need to investigate him and his dealings and why he wants to be in. Well, we know why he wants to be in that seat. He's making over $300,000. You know, if I need to save my seat as the board attorney, I would give you all money to stay there. I mean, come on, that's chump change to him.
Well, you know, when they had the tabulator there, it came out. I didn't know this. Local policy does not allow vendors to make campaign contributions, and yet that's not being followed.
Happy birthday to Don Andres Serna. He just turned 65. He is a senior now, and he voted for you, Frankie. Thank you so much, Garibay.
Happy birthday.
Felicidades.
Happy birthday, Andres. Don Andres.
Happy birthday. And also special shout out to the Gonzalez family. Cindy Gonzalez, thank you for tuning in. And Frankie, I like that you're leading the podcast, acknowledging our comments and including the guys in responding. Garcia, thank you so much.
Yeah,
because
shout out to the Cisneros family that voted for all of us.
All right.
Shouts out.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, yes, because he was there when she was there, he could be supporting witness. Guys, very quickly, what about the finance director, Mary Garza? Do you think she's involved?
Well, they haven't said anything on that one, so I'm not going to be able to comment on that. I mean, I'm only letting you know what I hear in there. Yes, the answer to Chuck is yes. So they haven't mentioned her. The only mention that they did on her was that she was the one that was directed to put that board agenda or that agenda item for a consent agenda.
I don't think she's involved in any shenanigans. Mary Garza's a straight up person. She might be a little rough on the edges and disrespectful to people, but overall, she's got ethics. And she didn't want to write that agenda item. Pat said she didn't want to write it.
Hey guys, are we on the second half of the show yet?
Just about, Vicky.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Te dormiste?
So then Drew, Minerva, and Prisi will not testify. Guys, what's your opinion?
No, they won't. I don't think they're going to testify, to be honest with you. Minerva is complicit with Sylvia Atkinson, so I don't think she's going to go and self-incriminate herself. This is testimony from Sylvia. But what I do tell you is that, you know, it's real quick. I don't think they're gonna go against her because her testimony says, you know, and I'm gonna read it to you. This is what was said. Sylvia wants to get her friends elected to help her and her friends get things done. This is what she said. She said that she wants help. She wants money so that way she can get her friends elected. And the place she said was the city, county, and TSC. And this is quote verbatim. What I need to get will get done.
Al Capone.
Capone, baby.
So again, she has her hands in pretty much everything. What kind of plea do you think the feds might grant? According to Carlos, that ship has sailed. Am I correct?
Yes.
Too late, guys. Which account was being used to get monies and spent illegally? I don't think we touched. I don't think they've touched on that, Rocha. No. If you know something, please let us know.
PM.
Yeah. Send us a message. Wondering if the jury that were picked to serve the federal case had any knowledge of how the school board system works. I will say no. It's not typical for anybody to know really how the process of a school board, public education functions. But according to Tim, according to Carlos, the government has done a good job of painting the picture of the process. They've brought in TASB. They've brought in board members of what's appropriate and inappropriate. So I think the government has done a good job of giving us, the public, the community, and many people that don't really know the process, painting us a good picture. Would you guys agree?
I agree.
Yeah. What they did say today with the undercover is that Dr. Atkinson, she didn't want 25% of deals. She wanted 1%. She wanted to skim it from the top, under the radar. And then something about 150,000. Carlos, was it to Mexico, to send to Mexico or something like that? Do you remember that?
Were brought up, and they didn't really elaborate too much, but something about she's got connections in Mexico, and I don't know. It really didn't go anywhere, but it was mentioned.
Guys, is this true that when the federal agent testified that you didn't see his face?
No, we were in the courtroom.
That he was in a video. Is that correct? That they protected his identity?
Correct. Because remember, he's a full-time undercover agent. So what happens when he came to testify today, they actually took us out of the courtroom and put us in another courtroom. We could hear everything that was going on, but we weren't allowed to be in the gallery while that undercover agent was testifying.
Yep.
Wow. What about insurance? Is insurance something we should expect? Just hypothetically, is there a hunch?
Nothing has been mentioned, or nothing has been brought up to lead us to think that anything is going to come out of the insurance at this trial. But remember, this is one of many that are coming. They give a little bit of snippets only because the defense brought it up about Elia Cornejo Lopez, but because of that, there's still many other individuals. Because remember, from what I gathered today was that Sylvia was actually recording the judge, and that was wanted, that she either turned it in or was turning it in for leniency, or something happened and it just didn't. But because of that, there's other witnesses that are implicated in this that were also working for the FBI and recording these events. So we don't know how far this is going to go. Or how many other people are going to fall.
Carlos, in your opinion, so she is guilty. There's no way she is going to walk out.
In my opinion, by sitting there day one, I seriously don't see that she will be found not guilty. But that's just my opinion.
Give us a percentage, Carlos.
I would say about 95%.
Damn.
The only thing that could help her is mercy, and I don't think with what we've seen that's going to happen.
Tim?
I'm going to have to agree with that. The prosecution is doing an outstanding job, just outstanding. And the defense, flat.
It's because the defense is doing everything in their part. But like, again, how can you defend an audio and a video recording of someone taking money?
Yeah, you can't.
And the second time she took the money, Frankie, look at me. I'm going to show you. She went like that. She went like that.
Oh, really? She winked?
Like, yeah, kind of like, come on, guys. I mean, full knowledge of what she was doing. Full knowledge of what she was doing. And this is what the jury saw, plus everything else. So you cannot contest the video. You might be able to muddy the waters enough to where they'll show leniency or maybe not fully understand the charges. But other than that, I don't see it. Tomorrow, yes, there is seats available if you get there early enough. Remember, it starts at 9 o'clock. They start letting people in at 8:30, guys. But you do have to wear a mask, take something warm because it is freezing in there, and it's very uncomfortable to sit in those wooden benches. But you have to have an ID, a current ID, to be able to get in. No smartwatches, no electronic devices.
Yeah. And to pick up, that's where the defense does. They muddy the water, but then when the prosecution gets on, they clean it up. Good job.
No spots. I am not. I'm just filling in until
you have a new king.
Until this case is over. But you never know. I'm starting to draw a lot of fans everywhere I go.
100%.
Again, so and Lynn has a question. Why hasn't TEA taken over the BISD board? Why allow years of corruption at our tax dollars?
Was it looking?
I think what happens with TEA, they'll come down if there's a need for it. I understand that it is very disappointing to have this many people being, or treating our BIZ like their personal piggy bank. But that is what the court system is all about. So the court system is doing a good job right now. Yes, it does take some time, especially with the FBI. But like I said, if the FBI gets you, they're not gonna let you go.
Who's in the purchasing department? Is that Mary Garza at finance?
No,
No, Rosie, right?
finance. Purchasing is Rosie Pena.
Yeah.
That last name just kind of.
that went fast. I saw something pig or something.
We need Ben Affleck as the accountant. We need somebody super smart with numbers. I have somebody in mind who's very, very smart with numbers. Hopefully he comes. No, hopefully he's willing to come back to the district. Mr. Carlos calls him Mr. Trevino. Mr. Trevino, I'm sure you're watching, sir. We would love to have you back. Is Balthazar related to Liz Vera? Was she a teacher at Hannah and is now a realtor, guys?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the relationship?
Brother
and sister.
And whose campaign finance report did she appear on? Do you all remember?
Yes, Minerva's.
So Balthazar Salazar, a vendor, a board attorney, gave money to Minerva Peña in $7,000 in 1 week, and also had her sister. Again, remember, guys, why are these people wanting to have these certain individuals back on the board? Because they want to have these same things that Sylvia Atkinson was doing to continue. Remember that if you have yet to vote. And if you have, make sure you tell your friends and family that voting for Denise, voting for Eddie Garcia, voting for Daniela Lopez, voting for Minerva Peña, voting for Philip Cowan is a vote for Sylvia Atkinson. Remember that.
Of course. And what happens is every vendor that has given to Minerva Peña has also given to those same candidates. They put together a slate to make sure they're still in power come November 3rd. And that's why we need to stop it. But it takes a community. We need y'all to get out there. We need you to tell your family, your neighbors, take them out. If they don't feel it, call us. We will go get them.
I agree. It's very, very important. Tim, Carlos, can Prissy and Drew be censored when you all get on the board?
I'm not getting bored, but I tell you one thing: when they swear you guys in, they're going to ask you, "Do you have an agenda?" It's going to be no. So this question really, I don't know if you can answer it or not. You're not.
It just, Vito, Carlos. It just depends on what comes out from this case. We just heard day before yesterday that Vito's opponent, Philip Cowan, accepted a $2,000 bribe, and that is sufficient enough for us to censor him. That is sufficient for us to file a lawsuit to have him removed. If the federal government allowed this to come into play, I think it's fair game. What do you think, Vito?
Of course. I mean, it falls under the ethics policy. You know, you're not supposed to take any money from anyone. You're sitting in a seat that pays nothing. And these people are using it like a piggy bank. Yes, give me money and let's go to the bank. I mean, son sinvergüenzas. What it's
Sinvergüenzas.
Yeah, I mean, it frustrates me that it's been going on and on and on.
I agree with you guys. I mean, it's very disheartening to hear all this stuff, and I'm going to tell you guys, there's a lot more people that are coming down. Sylvia Atkinson is not going down by herself, guys. Whoever was really good friends with her, she just implicated Judge Elia Conejo Lopez in a bribery scheme.
Well,
She
yeah.
invited other individuals as well. She has recordings of these conversations. There are more people that are going to come down. This is not my testimony. This is what's being presented in the court. I'm just repeating what I heard. You know.
All right, fellas. Well, you know me, I'm always making bread at night in case we need to hide something in it. So that's thoughts, Tim Ramirez.
You know, I was thinking about it, in the perspective of a teacher. Broken crayons still color. Our school board is broken, but our school employees still give 200% for our students so they can flourish. For our employees, I tell you, stay safe throughout these trying times. And most importantly, be safe. Remember, make a difference. Go and vote. Do not, and I repeat, please do not. If someone tells you, are you voted? Please check. And I repeat this because it's so important. Planting the seed, planting the seed. Go to myaob.com, click on have my friends and families voted, and make sure that they voted. If they haven't, pester them. Tell them, be a pain, be a thorn in the side. But if I want to vote, your livelihood depends on it. Have a good night.
Carlos Elizondo.
Hey guys, man, again, we're out there in the community making sure that there is a change. November is going to be the day of BISD getting their voice back and their respect back. I'm telling you what's happening. We are going to be out there tomorrow again. Friday is another day for the Sylvia Atkinson trial. We will give you the information as we hear it. But by all means, please do not forget to go out and vote. BISD must get their voice back and the respect that the teachers deserve. We must bring this community back into a healing state. We must heal what this current board has broken. Guys, remember what we have said. Remember that there is a slate out there trying to buy your vote. We're here to gain your trust. Vote for us. Make sure that you go out. Remember November. It depends on you if we will change the district back to what it used to be. Thank you, guys.
Frankie, take us home.
Carlos said it best. Remember November. We have 2 more days. 2 more days to make sure we bring back the school district back to the community. It is very, very important. Tomorrow, Friday, will be the last day of early voting. You can go anywhere in the 10 polling locations, if I'm not mistaken. The hours will be extended to 9 p.m. I encourage each and every one of you, if you haven't voted already, please do so. Take your friends and family. This election is one like no other. I am honored to be a part of this process. Our community has really come out and voted. We have over 30,000 individuals who have voted in the BISD election so far. Let's bump it up to 45,000. Let's make sure that we get individuals on that board that have come on this platform, have answered your questions on that seat, because ultimately that's what we need. We have had people like Prissy Roca-Tipton who has talked about transparency. What has happened whenever that issue of the insurance occurred at TSC? We haven't heard from them. We have promised an open door policy with our community. You can come on here every night at 9 p.m. and ask us anything you want. As long as it is a fair question, it is not done disrespectful, we will be here each and every night answering your questions, providing you with the latest information. Can somebody please mute their damn thing? It's very, very important for us to make sure that we take back this seat. Again, I am so excited for Tuesday coming up. Let's take it home, guys. We got 2 more days.
2 more days.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
What do you need to take to vote?
ID.
Sit.
ID passport.
Hey, Vito, that's for you.
Yeah.
Take it back one, Vito. Come on.